Hey guys, this is Anne Marie coming at you as the anti-HR HR lady. And today I'm going to give you a little HR tip about recognizing or identifying workplace bullying and things that you can do about it. So what's workplace bullying? It's usually behavior that is targeted on a group or individual groups by individuals or a group by a person in the workplace, often a person with authority, but sometimes it's not even someone with authority. And it's usually behavior that it can be verbal or nonverbal harassment, abusive language, and it often results in emotional stress and mental anxiety for the people who are receiving it or the individuals receiving it, especially when it's over an extended period of time. So once you recognize that you are at the receiving end of workplace bullying, what can you do about it? And is there anything that you should be aware of? The answer is yes. You can do something about it, and there are things that you should pay attention to. So the first thing to do is, of course, recognize bullying for what it is. But once you do recognize that you are dealing with a bully, whether it's your manager or coworker, there are things that you should do immediately. An important thing to remember is, regardless of the type of bully you're dealing with, it's not necessary for you to accept the behavior. If someone is engaging in abusive behavior towards you in the workplace, you have the right to ask them to stop. You do not have to accept it, whether they're doing it to everyone or they're targeting you. One of the first things that you should do is to tell them that you feel that they're bullying you and you would like them to stop, and then document their response, whether there's retaliation, whether they change their behavior, because those are things you would also want to report to HR when you raise the issue with them. One of the first things that you should do is start documenting, right? So get a documentation journal. I actually have one at the link in my bio. Start documenting your workplace from the first day of employment. It's extremely important. I have a blog post that I wrote about why it's important and why you should do it from the very beginning, right? So start documenting, start writing down the incidents, who was there, when it happened, and so on. And then the next thing you should do is determine whether or not you can make a claim as an employee or whether there's other action you need to take. Now, there are two things that you should consider. First of all, does your employee handbook have an anti-bullying policy? Many employers now have those kinds of policies, but many do not. So importantly, look it up in your handbook, see if there's an anti-bullying policy in your handbook. If there is, follow the instructions about how to report it to human resources. Sometimes they will have specific actions that they ask you to take to report it. So make sure that you read the policy. Now, what do you do if your employer doesn't have a policy about anti-bullying, but you're being subjected to bullying in your office? Well, one of the things that you want to consider is the bullying targeted? So sometimes you're going to be in a situation where you're dealing with a person who is verbally abusive to everyone. They're just not a joy to be around. They're a straight up asshole, right? Then you may be dealing in a situation where there's a person who is bullying and exhibits bullying behavior, but only to specific people in the workplace. And that second type of person is the person that you may be able to take action against. It's a lot harder if your workplace has no policy and this person is just a jerk who's horrible to everyone. But if you have a manager or a coworker who only likes to pick on the women in the office, or they like to pick on the person with the visual disability, or they like to pick on someone because they don't like their sexual orientation or their gender identity, or they like to pick on someone on the basis of race or ethnicity. You notice they're only making snarky comments to the Muslims in the office, or the Black people in the office, or the Asian people in the office. Then you need to start documenting that behavior, pay close attention to it. If you're being subjected to it, you want to document it, and then you want to bring it up to human resources. If that person is your manager especially, go straight to human resources. If the person is a coworker, go to the manager first if you feel comfortable doing that, or go straight to human resources. But make sure that you don't just sit there and take it, report it, right? So I've written a blog post about this. It's up on my website. It's a little bit more detailed than this chat, so you can go over there and read it. But the bottom line is, if you're experiencing bullying in the workplace, there are things that you can do, But the most important thing to do is to recognize it, start documenting it, and then report it. If you don't feel comfortable doing some of the things that I've mentioned on your own, or you need more advice about a specific situation, you can book a discovery call with me at the link in bio. I'm always happy to chat and to help people one-on-one in consultations to resolve HR issues, especially issues around discrimination in the workplace. So I hope this tip was helpful. If you have questions or comments, drop them in the comment or feel free to get in touch with me. This is Anne Marie, the anti-HR HR lady. Always remember, HR is not your enemy, but they're definitely not your friend. I am. See you in the next video.